I think I'm sort of naturally a nurturer, for better or for worse. And I see that part of my role is to inspire and to challenge learners, but to do it in a way that's very nurturing and supportive. I think I use that strength that I have of nurturing to support the training, which is very challenging. And our residents leave here very well qualified because the work is difficult.
When I'm working with residents, I try to demonstrate to them how to transition from more of the academic and test-taking world into real-world practice.
Well, it's mostly teaching them through the cases that we see. Most of what my relationship with them from an educational point is going through all the patients and talking about the patient's illnesses and how to treat those patients.
I definitely have more of a surgical approach to teaching the residents. I try to bolster that with a very loving, funny, warm, get-to-know-you attitude. I always tell the residents, I am here for them to learn. I do not expect them to show up and know stuff. That is why they need to go through residency. But I definitely will ask questions, and if you don't know the answer, then that's an opportunity for us to go over things together.
These residents are very independent. So when the residents are in the ER, I kind of give them free rein. So I let them go see the patients, interact with them, work with them, and then come back to me, and I just oversee them. In addition, they work very often with our most critical patients, and my approach to that is get them hands-on, let them do whatever procedure they'd like to do. I think that trains them the best and makes them best prepared to go out into practice.
Obviously, we never endanger a patient, right? But the thing is let residents have the leeway so that they don't think there's only one way to do it, because those paradigms shift anyway, right? I think what it does is it gives them the confidence that when they're done, they realize it's really them, and because some of them will go, oh, I guess that was my idea. Yeah, it wasn't mine. That was a great idea.
I'm not going to try to make you practice exactly like me. I want you to have my knowledge, and I want to have your knowledge as well. But ultimately, it comes to making sure at the end of the day you know why you made a choice and that you can stand behind it.
They're just very inquisitive and energetic and so excited about medicine. That's probably the biggest thing. I learn a ton from them every day. More importantly though, they're so unbelievably caring with their patients. It reminds you of why you're in medicine. They go above and beyond when they're caring for their patients, and every time I see that, they act as an example for me and all the other physicians at Methodist. And I'm really grateful for that.
What I really enjoy about working with residents is really just kind of seeing how interested they are in learning about everything, and just the amount of energy they bring, to the workplace. It's actually really, rejuvenating.
So working with the residents, the best part is the energy and enthusiasm that they bring to every patient encounter, and also to the ancillary staff that come in. When you're working with residents in the hospital, the nurses are more excited because they get to do some individual teaching themselves. And you also just get to help impart knowledge and kind of take some of the lessons that were important for you during your training.
Well, it adds some youth, enthusiasm, vitality, interest to my day. So it's just nice working with a bunch of people who want to learn.
That's an easy question. Working with residents is really a lot of fun. I love the group of people that we've recruited. They've all come to Dignity with our shared mission. But with that, they come with lightheartedness and fun. It's a pleasure to work with them. And the other reason I like working with residents is there's an expression, she who teaches learns. So I learn a lot from working with the residents.
I love the residents and the background that they bring to this hospital. I think that most of the residents here are very focused on the mission. They're mission driven. They come because their heart is really interested in serving this population, and you see that in the quality of their work every day.
They're a fun group. We laugh a lot and we have a lot of fun in our preceptor room. Sometimes the medical assistants have to close the door because we're so loud. So if that's not for you, I'm sorry. We're just who we are. One of the other things I love about our residents is that they have a focus and are mission driven. They're here because they want to be here and they want to serve our patient population. And to be honest, for me, those are the kind of people that I want to work with.
I appreciate having residents at the hospital for a number of reasons, perhaps the most important of which is a reminder for all of our seasoned clinicians the reasons that we chose to do medicine. They bring their compassion, dedicated, hard work. In addition, from a utilization standpoint, residents actually save hospitals money. And then finally, our residents are groomed for leadership. In fact, our current chief of staff was a former resident from our program. We've been able to retain a lot of our graduates in our community, and many of them hold roles of leadership. That makes our organization stronger.
You know, I think the residents, you know, they're really the highlights of the hospital being in the system, and I think everybody kind of recognizes that. I'll be honest, I mean, I've been told by, you know, the nurses that, you know, when we're having, you know, difficult patients, you know, and there's, you know, like an overhead, what we call a rapid response team, they're just so happy that the residents are there because, you know, they're quick to respond, they're very dependable, and they know that when the residents show up, you know, things are going to get taken care of. And that's you know, just again speaks volumes to the level of training, the amount of trust and respect that they have for the residents.
The residents are unopposed in their labor and delivery experience, which is exceptional because they don't need to fight with OB/GYN residents or ER residents for experience. So they are, at least when working with me, as welcome as they want to be in terms of hands-on for deliveries, for D&Cs, for C-sections. We try really hard to have them walk out of the rotation feeling like they've learned everything that I would have learned as an intern physician in an OB/GYN program. So I look forward to providing that experience to next year's incoming class.
They spend a lot of their time in the ICU, and in doing so, they work with a lot of different specialties. They know the hospitalist very well. They know cardiology, ICU, all the different doctors that work within the hospital. They work very often in the ED, they respond to consults, and so in that setting, they become kind of a cohesive glue that holds the medical staff together.
Residents in our hospital receive excellent training, and there's some good reasons for that. We are an unopposed program. That means that we don't have other residents competing to get procedures, to have access to our subspecialists. So there's a lot of education that can happen without competition.
You know, if you're a family practice resident and there's a fellow and an internal medicine resident and everybody in a line between you and the attending, you can kind of get lost, I would think. That doesn't happen here.
Right now, I focus on inpatient medicine, but you know, with the training that I have, I'm very comfortable in, so that, you know, in the next 5 years when my kids go to school and I want to do a more 9-to-5 gig on a regular basis, that I can transition to outpatient medicine and again, still thrive.
I learn something new from them every day. They're an absolute pleasure to work with. I think their training goes above and beyond what they do in the ICU, and the family practice working in residents working on those acute patients, the sickest patients, make them better prepared for their practice than any other residency, I think, in the country.
And I think the fact that they have this continuity stream that works from our inpatient service to the outpatient service, and they've become very aware of that. That's a skill that you don't get if you subdivided it and you simply said there are hospital doctors training and there's outpatient doctors training. So I think that that's something that we're holding on to because it's something that's being lost from the specialty. And so that's kind of unique for us.
I think the training is just fantastic. I think the thing that really was beneficial for me as a resident and what I try to keep in mind as a faculty physician is that there's not always a right answer. And so in absence of that, how do you make wise and conscientious choices to best help your patient, and why? That it again is not a one size fits all. Everyone comes in with their strengths and their own particular abilities, and it's about making you the best kind of physician you could possibly be. That means that I can't make Dr. A be the same way as Dr. B, because we're not trying to create cookie cutter physicians.